So we were talking the other day about diligence and how that is practiced, really, how one invokes diligence in general. You know, when you...
But mindfulness, danger, contemplation of danger, peril, not being complacent, basically.
Yeah. And something about how if you were sitting around relaxing and a task came up.
Ah, you mean that conversation? Right. Yeah,
and you would get up and do it.
Get up and do it, yeah.
Even though that you kind of wanted to lay down and rest.
Yeah, like, even though I felt like I don't have to do it at a time, I earn this rest, I would still do it just so the mind does not take it, that laziness, and it doesn't become a hindrance. Because it can. That's why people often feel, even if they say haven't felt justified in sensuality before, when they start working or getting sort of engaged and completing tasks and stress, enduring that hardship of any kind in the world or as much, then sensuality becomes kind of justifiable. Like, oh, I deserve this. I need to rest. And since you see no other basis of rest, sensuality becomes your rest. So until you can see any different basis than resting on sensuality, you can't take rest for granted. So does that mean you should never rest? Well, from one point of view, yeah, you should never let your guard down. From another point of view, yeah, well, no, do go and sleep. That's a form of rest. Go for a walk, sit quietly, go seclusion. That's a form of rest. But you got to start discerning it, and even then, don't take it for granted. Don't feel justified in doing it, because again, the disturbances of the world, the stress, does not come on a kind of sight, sound, smell, taste, touches. It comes on a kind of undeveloped mind that's still not free from craving. So if you need to rest from your stress, that you still assume to be coming from the world and sense objects, means you're still carrying problem with you even when you're resting. Because you're resting from a wrong thing. But then if you uproot the possibility of craving, resistance towards whatever's felt, then you're always at rest. Even when you're working or having your limbs chopped off by highway robbers, as I so to say. You won't have a need to rest because you're not disturbed to begin with. You're not stressed. So that's just to show that you gotta know, you must not forget where the problem and the solution is, and stop equating justification for rest with kind of implication that the problem came from, that the stress came from these things in the world. Disturbance doesn't come from things. It comes from an undeveloped mind. From greed, aversion, delusion. That's it. Those are the three root causes of any form of disturbance. So yes, initially, until you can see through that, take a break from seemingly disturbing things, withdraw, keep the precepts, develop virtue, step away, just so that you can see that truly disturbance comes from your mind. But if you never relinquish the view that disturbance comes from these things and concentration helps me not see these things, you're never going to stop being disturbed.
No matter how much you rest.
No matter how much you rest, no matter how protected your environment becomes, no matter how strong your concentration is, it will have to run out and you're back onto being disturbed because you carry the root of disturbances with you. Because greed, aversion, delusion are not uprooted by focusing hard away from them, moment to moment, moment to moment. They are uprooted by full understanding of the danger, peril, gratification, escape in regard to them. So taming of the mind, through guarding of the sense doors, through taming of the behavior, through keeping the precepts. That is the development. And there is never a justifiable break from keeping the precepts or being watchful of your intentions. There is a justifiable break from being engaging with the senses or from concentrating away from the senses. You need a break from both. But you never need a break from mindfulness, from recollectedness, from right memory. As the Buddha said, you can't have too much of mindfulness. It's impossible. If you are, that's not what mindfulness is.
So a person who's doing it rightly, or having done rightly.
Mm.
An arahant or so, he doesn't need a holiday.
He doesn't need a holiday because he is not disturbed to begin with, even with things that people usually ascribe the disturbances to. Oh, it comes from sight, sound, smell, taste, touches, from having to listen to this, having to look at this, having to do this. That's why my mind is disturbed. Because he said something upsetting, because she didn't do something I required her. That's why my mind is disturbed.
And what about sensuality is not the issue, it's just that I get disturbed by it. So if I just make my mind strong enough to be able to be sensual and not get suffering from it.
That's contradiction in terms then. Because sensuality, if you were to engage with it to any extent, to that extent you would be disturbed. Because otherwise why would you engage with it? If there is no sensual pressure of sensual desire, even some like slight aspects of it, why would you be engaged? Why would you be scratching if there is not a slightest itch? Yet slightest itch means there is a degree of disturbance. So you saying it's not disturbing, yet I'm engaging with it, it's a contradiction in terms. Oh, it doesn't scratch, it doesn't itch, but I'm scratching it. Why would you do such a thing? So the disturbance comes from greed, mind not free from greed, aversion, delusion, that need to be understood through contemplating, as you said many times. Well, through sense restraint, guarding with the sense doors, watchfulness of your intentions, discerning of your intentions, and then contemplating dangers of engaging with things, with desires and intentions rooted in greed, aversion, distraction. And that's just, it's basically reflexive pondering of the right kind, sustaining that context throughout the day. Memory, recollecting the right things, the right dangers. They will then keep your mind composed from slipping away and doing and committing back to those actions that perpetuate the problem of undeveloped mind. So that's what the practice is. That's where the true non-disturbance comes from. If in the meantime you need to rest, well, ask yourself, why do you need to rest? If I need to calm down through concentration, why am I disturbed in the first place? Is it because I wasn't concentrated enough? Or is it because I didn't even see where the problem came from? All I know is I'm in suffering now. So understanding is the only way out.